Hey everybody, Chris here. So there's uncertainty with Dogecoin and the crypto market as we are now in mid-October 2025, getting near the end of what would typically be the 4-year bull cycle. Where's this going to go from here? We're going to talk about in this video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Hit that little notification bell too. You can be notified when my videos come out, as well as when I do live streams. And we have over the past few days been uncovering more about what happened last Friday with the flash crash between Binance, more on Limitless and Hyperliquid, and with CZ involved and all of that. And Dogecoin held on despite the liquidity blast of that dip down to 9.5 cents. I mean, some other very, very low liquidity coins got hit a lot worse. Trying to recover, trying to find new support. What's going on with Bitcoin? Are we near the end of the cycle? Have we hit the top already? All of that, we're going to talk about it. So let's get into it. Let me show you the charts on the news. I'll show you what I'm looking at. And we start here with the Dogecoin chart. And Doge is just over 20 cents, holding on to the bottom of my big green box, which was 20.2, which we had dipped down to on Monday. However, we did have on Tuesday a dip below that line, but we came back up. So we are trying to find that support, and whether that's going to be strong enough to keep Doge from doing this again, like the big Friday flash crash, all the way down to 9.5 cents. Again, this was on Binance, of course. On Doge was different prices on different exchanges, but this was the Binance. This was the Binance chart. We're trying to actually get back up here to 25 cents where we were before all of the manipulation started on Friday. This is where I bought Dogecoin on Friday after that first big red candle. I thought that was a pretty good buy, buying on the red candle. Who knew all of this was going to happen? But that's how it goes. Here's Bitcoin's chart. And Bitcoin was up here at 122,000 before the flash crash. And Bitcoin's chopping around now, and that's what we thought, it would do. I predicted we're just going to chop right around this level, and that's what we've seen in ETH at 4,100, holding over 4,000 so far, so looking like support there. But Dogecoin, of course, when you zoom out, right, it's just flattening out here. So that's good. It's been a few days now. This is the 1-hour chart, and we're just kind of settling at this level, waiting for the next move. So Dogecoin finds footing at 20 cents amid market uncertainty. Yes, there is some market uncertainty. We're just still trying to figure out like the outfall of everything that happened with Binance and how the crypto market is just completely manipulated. The leverage traders coming back in, longs and shorts, and the battle continues. We're looking for those higher shorts we looked at on the live stream yesterday. Up there at 125,000 for Bitcoin. There's huge amounts of shorts up there. I still think they're going to get those, but can Dogecoin hold support and stage a comeback? Dogecoin has been through a rough patch lately. Things might be settling down. After sliding from recent highs, the coin is now hovering around 20 cents, a price point that seems to be attracting buyers. The big question is whether this level can actually hold, or are we just seeing a temporary pause before another drop? Doge is showing some backbone after its recent pullback. Dogecoin had moved up to 30 cents in mid-September and couldn't keep the momentum going, and is now testing support at 20 cents, a level that matters. It's where buyers have been willing to step in, prevent things from getting worse, and resistance is going to be back up 23 to 25, get back up where we were early Friday morning. Doge needs to clear that to confirm any real reversal. However, if 20 cents gives way, the next safety net probably closer to 18 cents, and we don't want to be back in the teens. The broader crypto market has also cooled off. Again, we're just chopping around. So speculative coins like Doge, Doge is holding okay. There are others that are continuing to fall down. We looked at like Fetch AI that just continues to find or looking for a footing. Some other uncertain crypto projects, who knows? However, Dogecoin does live and die by its community hype. and overall trader sentiment. It follows Bitcoin for the most part, but has that ability to break out. And of course, Elon Musk, the wild card, the House of Doge news, I'll get to that in just a minute. But the sentiment overall is still cautious. So 20-cent level, historically acted as a magnet for dip buyers, explains why the price keeps bouncing around this zone. So that's where we start. Ash is like, look, even on Bitcoin has been on this 2.5-year trend upwards, bullish trend line, retest, and we are retesting it again on the overall chart. Still overall in a bull cycle. Are we nearing the end of that cycle yet? Are we just reloading for maybe an extended cycle? I mean, there's a lot of talks about what's going on. Again, we look at the previous cycles, 1,064 days, 1,064 days. Cycle 3 so far from the low, 1,061 days, which means we only have a few days left before we should be hitting the cycle high. Is it time for the 4-year cycle to break, right? If we follow that pattern again, we just have a few more days and it's like, oh, that's it, cycle over. Of course, things change, right? Things continue to change. Here's that comparison, right? In white, you see here, this is our current cycle for Bitcoin from the low back in 2022, the end of 2022 after the FTX crash. That's the low from the last cycle, or part of this cycle, and then we compare it to what happened in 2021, where the top was, and then 2017, where the top was. Again, the number of days, right, from the low, 1,064, right, 1,064, we're right there. And so far, Bitcoin is not having that blow-off top yet. And are we even going to see a blow-off top? Is it now just so heavily laden with institutional buying, right? The ETFs, like all of that, is that squashing Bitcoin from going higher? I mean, this is still a pretty good gain, right? It's still, what, a 5x, 6x from its low? That's pretty good for a cycle. Again, not as much as the previous cycle or the cycle before that, which were much greater percentage gains. But this percentage gain, pretty good. And if you take it from 69K to now 115K, let's call it, right? That percentage is good, but not as great as what Bitcoin has had before. And maybe that's just what the market is doing with the bigger market cap and still all of this manipulation going on with the liquidity and the leverage trading. Maybe that's just where we are right now, and Bitcoin is going to become more like gold, and it's going to start trading slow and steady higher. That is a possibility. Gel says, look, on a monthly basis, we've had these green Septembers where it was green in October and November. Again, we covered this before, green in September and then October, November. And it did that 2 other times where we had a green September and green October, November, and even into December on some of those. And that's what we were expecting. Right now, October is still kind of in the red, but we're only halfway through October, which means we could still have a bit of a pump, turn this to green, and then have a blow-off top in November. It'll be a little bit more of an extended cycle in terms of days from the previous low that I just showed, but certainly the opportunity's there. If we look at ETH, we look at how ETH has performed. ETH is actually pretty good structurally, right? Bouncing off of support that used to be resistance. And it looks like it's ready, after the shakeout here, right? After that big wick shakeout, it looks like it's primed to go up. And its target, again, is, well, he's got 6,700. Mine was 6,666, if you recall. For ETH, 6,666 would be a target for a beautiful bull flag on the ETH chart. And as ETH goes, so goes alt season. We do see, again, Bitcoin dominance spiked up on Friday, and it's been going back down now, back below 60, 59, right? It's in the 58s now. We check that on the live stream, watch that Bitcoin dominance chart. And its setup is pretty good, again, for alts to finally make a big move. And how about Doge? Well, in the 3-day chart, right, we take out that wick, right? There's the big wick. So you take that out, right? That's just a leverage flush. We're trading back up here. We've seen this before. Of course, Trader Allen is good at looking at these these setups here before big runs, and that's what we expect to happen, is a big run for Doge. At least the chart setup is showing that. More closely, as we look at from the big wick on Friday and the big drop on Friday, we start to see this ascending channel showing up. But again, this is blown out a little bit on the 4-hour, and right now we're just stuck in this sideways pattern right here. Are we about to find that support on that upward channel and go higher in the short term? We'll be watching that as well. So what happened with the House of Doge? We covered this news yesterday. This is huge. And Bragg House, right, this TBH stock, I did a swing trade yesterday, but man, this morning pre-market, TBH now up 35%, pre-market up to $1.37. Earlier this morning, this was up at $1.70, up 70% pre-market. It looks like it's slowing down a bit and gradually going lower. By the time this actually gets to stock market open, it might be back in the 120s. We'll see. But that was pretty exciting if you were up early, right? Which is sometimes the best time to do some of the stock swing trading, is pre-market or aftermarket. That's when some of the real big moves happen. And we had this Bragg House stock like flying pre-market, but not zone. Clean Core is still stuck. And that's the one I went into. I did not rebuy TBH. I took those profits and I went back to zone to swing trade that. But this is going to be huge with the House of Doge and Bragg House and what's happening with the team getting involved in that. But while we were talking about on the live stream, and I was like, well, what is Clean Core going to do, right? The Bragg House. And then I found this as hunting around, and back in September, Bragg House actually entered into a securities purchase agreement with Clean Core Solutions. In other words, these two companies are already combined in some manner in terms of the stock. Because we were wondering, like, House of Doge just went all with Bragg House now, but they had a thing with Clean Core. Well, look, the House of Doge is building this thing together with Clean Core and Bragg House. So that's kind of interesting, right? So we'll be watching how that, is there going to be a big merger that's going to happen between these two? Probably sometime next year, once the whole first part of the Bragg House deal is done. We will be watching that. I mean, this is potentially huge for Dogecoin. If we look at other coins, let's just look at Bonk, for instance. Like, Bonk is setting up with the possibility of a big run. So we'll be seeing whether the other memes decide to go on a big run after ETH and like the large cap alts. Are we going to see the memes run again? And Bonk certainly has that setup. But yet there are some also saying, well, instead of bouncing off that upward sloping support line, what if we have instead made a new downward sloping resistance line, and instead of rocketing up, the meme dies down? So again, that's always a possibility. We don't know. Have we already hit the top? Was 00004, what was that, the top there for Bonk that we had back in July? Again, just continue to watch that. But for now, we looked at this chart yesterday. Today, Dan Crypto has reposted it a day later, and we are still in the chop zone. And that's where I think we're going to be for a little while. We're going to be chopping around in here. But you never know with crypto. It can decide to take off because the market makers are going to unleash it and go after the big, shorts and the liquidity that's up there. So we'll watch that. Meanwhile, Doge OS just says, hey, look, Doge in my portfolio, 90% of my portfolio is Doge. My risk tolerance is apparently infinite, right? We survived the flash crash, and you guys know, right? What's your risk tolerance? You didn't panic sell, right? You didn't panic sell. So regrets are zero. Much conviction. Such diamond hands. My Doge and my portfolio, I don't know what my percentage is right now. It's probably at least half. I haven't checked it. I just got so much else going on. I don't keep track of like my portfolio overall like that. But anyway, Dogecoin. Are we going to hold support? There's market uncertainty. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Give the video a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.